All right, so now we have Luna dead. You have UST pretty much dead. You have the blockchain halted, and you've got a whole ecosystem that has effectively died, collapsed. In this video, we're going to share the blatant raw truth that every Luna Terra investor needs to know. Alrighty, welcome back, guys. This is an unscheduled stream, something that came to my mind and something that I had to do here today to reveal the truth that really every single investor in crypto needs to know, not only about Luna and Terra, but I think you guys need to know the truth. So I decided to bring you guys it's a very tough video to make, and I decided to bring you guys this live, unscheduled stream. And yeah, it's a tough one to make. So listen, if you are here, welcome. If you're new to the channel, well, subscribe to the channel. And there's James here, who's responsible to make sure that everybody gets notifications. He bought me a bell and he says, well, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell, because then you'll know when we're bringing you guys these unscheduled streams. And this is a very, very, very important stream, because it's something that every single investor needs to know. And it's the whole truth, the blatant truth, and nothing about the truth. And whether or not you were a Luna investor, I think you're going to get great value out of the stream. Probably one of the most valuable streams that you'll ever get. So let's just recap where we are. So you've got Luna, unprecedented disaster in crypto. You have an ecosystem which had about an $80 billion market cap, got completely destroyed. So you've got $40 billion which were destroyed in the Luna ecosystem. You've got $20 billion, which were destroyed in UST. And this happened in a matter of 36 hours. In 36 hours, we saw, for the first time, we saw protocol in crypto collapse. And when it collapsed, it didn't collapse slowly. It didn't go down, 10%, 5%, like we probably all imagined. But it just went from being hero and it went down to being zero. And a lot of people got absolutely wrecked. You know that I took a very big loss in my portfolio. I'm not out. I'm here and I'm fighting and I'm strong and I'm going to rebuild, and I've still got a decent portfolio. But it was by far the biggest part of my portfolio. You guys know this. You guys know that I shared that was how my portfolio started, and that is how my portfolio looked at one point. That's one of the things we're going to talk about here today. So it was a big part of my portfolio. It also wasn't about me. It was about the community members. It was about family. It was about friends. It was about funds. It was about an ecosystem which you could say was one of the biggest ecosystems and most thriving ecosystem in crypto. These are all amazing people. These names, these logos are all amazing people, the smartest people in the world, building the smartest protocols that you've ever seen. Really, a different level of builder was building on Luna. And for now, at least, it feels like all of this has been destroyed in something that was, should we say, cataclysmic, something that has never happened in crypto before. And I think in all of our wildest dreams, never did we think that a protocol could collapse. And if it collapsed, it would collapse so quickly and go down to zero and have such wide-reaching effects for crypto, for builders, for people, etc. I've even heard some people who were overinvested. There are some rumors that some people are even committing suicide or have committed suicide as a result of this. This is one of the biggest catastrophes Twitter's ever seen. Crypto has ever seen, and it's a major setback for the ecosystem. And so today, what I thought I would do is I would share some lessons with you guys. And these lessons are important lessons that I've learned, taking the biggest knock on my portfolio ever, the biggest knock of anyone that I know has ever taken in their lives. I'm going to share some lessons with you. And the lessons are super important, not only for Luna holders, because Luna is the first protocol that has collapsed in crypto. But Luna is also a real wake-up call for every single person in crypto to say that no matter how much we believe in the technology, no matter how big these protocols are, no matter how much hype and support and communities and money these protocols have behind them, they can fail. And when they can fail, there are consequences. So whether you're a Luna bull or a bear, whether you were a bull or a bear, whether you love Luna or hated Luna, you got to take these lessons with you on your journey to crypto, because if we don't learn from our mistakes, then mistakes are wasted. And so what I thought we'd do today is go through these mistakes and go through the lessons that we've learned. Some of these lessons were obvious. Some of these lessons were obvious then, and some of these lessons are now obvious in hindsight. And hindsight is always 20/20. But we've got to take the lessons that we've learned, and we've got to make sure that we learn from them and make sure we never make them again. Otherwise, we're never, ever, ever going to become good investors. So that's what this video is about. And I want to take you through a couple of lessons that I've learned. In fact, I've written them down. I think there are 9 lessons that I've learned. And I want to take you through them step by step, step by step. And I know you think, oh, well, you know, we want to DJ and we want to know. No, no, no. This is probably the most important thing that you need to know about. And to start off, I'm going to show you a video that we had on Banter a few months ago, or a month or so ago. And I want you guys to listen to the video, because I think the video is a super important video. Listen to this video. It was a Friday Banter video with Scott Melker, with Chris Zachman, and with James from Invest Answers. And at the time, we were talking about which token would you be buying in? Which token would you guys be going into? Listen to this.
I do see a lot of potential in Avalanche. I do like staking, but I would put my money on Terra just because it's such a game-changing product. You know, all you need to do is get one really good product, and you can scale up a stablecoin a lot more than infrastructure. Because
so you know what worry? So it's very public that my biggest position is Luna, not because I bought the most, but just because it was my most successful investment ever. So it's very public that my biggest position. In fact, I showed it the other day. I wonder if I actually have that over here. Let me just see if I can find it. But I showed the guys. I don't have a chart. Do we have the Pac-Man chart? Let's get the Pac-Man chart up here. So I said that. But the one risk for me around Luna, and the reason why I'm de-risking myself slightly from Luna, is Luna revolves around one single concept. And the concept is around an algorithmic stablecoin. So if for some reason, which is unknown to anyone, the algorithmic stablecoin depegs itself, and for some reason it doesn't repeg itself, even with this Bitcoin backing, then the whole concept of the Terra Luna blockchain kind of has no real value. Whereas if 1 or 2 experiments fail on Solana or Avalanche, for example, because it's a base layer blockchain, then you can you work out that multiple other ones may succeed. And that's for me why I was getting sleepless nights at one point, where I said, look, you know, it started off as being 1% of my portfolio. It's now 85% of my portfolio, or 80%, or whatever the real number is, because I've never sold. I've only bought, and I've got all the staking rewards. And so I went from that to that. That's pretty much what my portfolio looks like at the moment. And so now I'm starting to de-risk myself. And it's a painful process, because I love Luna. I'm emotionally attached. I know I shouldn't be emotionally attached to investments, but I'm emotionally attached. And I don't know where to put the money. So my one option is to put it into Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is great.
Put it into Bitcoin, man.
It's a store of value, and I believe in altcoins more than I believe in Bitcoin. I believe in altcoins more than I believe in Bitcoin. Then I'm thinking maybe put some more into Solana. Great. That's what I've been doing. And then whenever I think about putting more into Avalanche, I just feel like I'm changing the risk profile of my portfolio. So I don't know what you guys would do. I'd love to hear what you guys would do. And no, not XRP, obviously.
Yeah, I can only tell you that, like, I know it's an emotional attachment. You and I have talked about the emotions of trading altcoins countless times. So it's pointless. But yeah, you got to rebalance, man. You know, like any portfolio manager in the world would be having a literal panic attack looking at that portfolio, and probably would pass out and not be able to make it to work the next day. Right? You got to rebalance. I would say you have to get back to where, you know, you're.
Okay, so that was the banter show that we did back then, and there's a lot of things in that you need to know, that you need to listen to. The first thing is, no matter how much we believe in a product, no matter how much network effects it's got, we must appreciate it. With this kind of technology, anything can fail. Even Bitcoin can fail. It's got the least chance of failing, but everything can fail. And so you've got to be diversified. Having a portfolio which looked something like this is not healthy. And so diversification is the first lesson we learned. Now, we know that we kept talking about diversification, but how many of you actually really look at your portfolios and truly rebalance your portfolios all the time to make sure that you're diversified? And if you do realize that, in fact, you are undiversified, like this, then the first thing that you got to do is you got to act, and you got to act fast, and you got to act fast without emotions. The biggest mistake that I made was I waited for opportunity. And every time I got another opportunity, for example, when I compared Luna to Near Protocol, even though my portfolio looked something like this, I looked at Near and I said, well, I think that Luna has more upside than Near Protocol in the next 12 months. And therefore, I'm not going to move large amounts of my Luna into Near Protocol. I should have acted with more resolution. When I realized the problem, I should have been unemotional about it, and I should have acted with more resolution. And the biggest lesson that I've learned there is that if you are emotional, like me, like everybody else, then you should get someone else to do the acting for you. I should have gone to the traders and I should have said to them, rebalance the portfolio. I'm stepping away and I'm getting the hell out of it. And once you've done that, you let them do their thing and you never go back. A friend, a family member, because that removes you as part of the emotion. That was the second thing. The third thing is that if you're investing in a protocol, then be careful if you're also investing in the product. Many of us invested in the Luna protocol. And the reason why we invested in the Luna protocol was because we believed in this sound money. But what the majority of us also did was we also invested in Terra. And we took our dry powder and we said, okay, we're investing in the Luna protocol on the one side, and we're going to take our dry powder. Let me just show you this. Hold on a second. Let me find this for you guys quickly. It's a very sad sight for all of us. So a lot of us invested in Luna. And then what we did was we also put a whole lot of money into Anchor Protocol because we thought we could go and earn 20%. The result is that what we didn't take into account, or what a lot of us didn't take into account, was, hold on a second. If you've got money in the protocol and you've got money in the product, you're earning 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x on Luna, the protocol, and you're earning 20% per year on the stablecoin, there's actually no point in investing in the stablecoin. Because if the whole thing fails, then you're going to lose your stablecoin and you're going to lose your product. If the protocol succeeds, you would have made way more money than 20% per year on the protocol. And so the lesson for me is that if you believe in a protocol, then invest in the protocol and don't put too many eggs in the protocol and in the basket. It's a massive mistake. I'm sure a lot of us made that. A lot of us made the mistake. And I guess it goes back to the first point of diversification. So that's the next point, which I think we all learned. The next thing is, if you're investing in a protocol, which is exactly what we did, and you're also investing in the ecosystem around the protocol, you're investing in the dexes, you're investing in the lending protocols, you're investing in all the other protocols, the metaverses that are being built in the protocol, then that is not actually called diversification. Because if the protocol fails, then every single investment in those protocols is going to fail. I invested in Luna. I also invested in Astroport. I also invested in Lunaverse. I also invested in Orion Protocol. I also invested in many other protocols that haven't even come out, Levana Protocol, etc. And maybe subconsciously, I thought that I was diversified. I didn't have enough eggs, all my eggs in one basket. But the truth is that now, in hindsight, which it became so obvious, is I was invested in one ecosystem. And so even though maybe this much of my portfolio was in Luna, probably a bigger part was actually in Luna and the Luna ecosystem. And I think we all take this for granted. If you're investing in Solana and you're investing in the Solana ecosystem, you're not diversified. If Solana fails, you're going to lose all of your Solana money and you're going to lose all of the money that you got in the ecosystem. The same thing with Avalanche, the same thing with even Ethereum. Even, believe it or not, even Ethereum can fail. I don't think it will, but I think even Ethereum can fail. And if it does, then every single investment that you've got on Ethereum is going to fail. So you have to make sure that you are diversified enough outside of the ecosystem. Don't just look at the thing. Look at the individual investments and say, if one of these major chains falls, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche, Solana, what will happen to your portfolio in total? And that is how you should do the risk return in your portfolio. All right. So I think if I were to summarize that section, I think what you need to do is you always need to, when you're investing, you need to manage the downside. Think only about the downside and let the upside take care of itself. Whenever you're making an investment, just think about, I'm going to make this investment, but what happens if this protocol fails? Because if you manage the downside, then you'll manage yourself against a collapse like this, and the upside will take care of itself. So you guys just keep remembering, manage the downside, but let the upside take care of itself. All right, let's carry on. I've got 3 more lessons for you guys. First lesson is, if you're overexposed to something, if you realize that you're overexposed to something, and in that ecosystem, there is a little bit of a tremor, get out. Because if you are overexposed, the risk of the loss that you take, you got to manage the risk. And the loss that you can take is 100% or 97%. And if you get out, you could have just taken a 2 or 3% loss. I'll tell you the truth. I watched UST depeg. And when it got to about 97 cents, I said, I'm not going to take a 3% knock. I'm going to wait for it to recover to 100. Then I'm going to get out. And then it went to 76. And then it started to recover again. I said, at 93, I said, hold on, it's going to get to 100 again. If you're overexposed, if you find yourself overexposed, and there is a tremor, and the tremor has even a small chance of becoming an earthquake and doing shattering damage, take the first loss. You may cost yourself 5%, but you may save yourself 95%. And from a risk-reward point of view, that's the best 95% that you'll ever save yourself. I could have saved myself hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars if I had just taken the first loss. Remember, we're dealing with very, very, very risky protocols. Even the most sure things are very, very, very risky protocols here. And so if you are overexposed and you can take a loss, take the 5% loss and get out. Don't be the hero that waits for the recovery, because you'll have 95% of your capital to actually fight another day. Whereas now, most of us, specifically around Luna, have got pretty much 0 to fight another day with. All right, 2 more lessons. Lesson number 8, get out of the echo chamber. Crypto is an echo chamber because we look for people that reaffirm our views. And specifically, when it came to Luna, Luna was the biggest echo chamber in the world. And even where there were smart people who told us, who said, a lot of people along the way came out and said, you know, you got this risky protocol. It's an algorithmic stablecoin. It can crash. Our death spiral Luna, tell in scenario assumption, Anchor fails completely. 100% of 11 billion UST on Anchor once out of the ecosystem. What happened to Luna? And smart people, Galoy Capital, he came out and he said the problem is that you can't actually redeem it. A lot of people said this. It's not like we weren't warned. We were warned 100 times. And we weren't warned by stupid people. We were warned by some of the smartest people in the industry that this could happen. Galoy Capital, he said, when it comes to Luna, the best case is that it succeeds. Unlikely. The second best case is that it fell sooner rather than later. A late implosion of Luna would be catastrophic for the space. A systematic risk contagion, which would take the contagion into the entire industry. It happened to time. Look at Lynn Alden. You can't say that Lynn Alden's not smart. She came out and said, if Luna has a similar price decline to Phantom or some kind of these hard-hit cryptos, UST would be at a depeg risk and eventually would lead to a market capitulation and even a Bitcoin market capitulation because they would be forced to sell their Bitcoin. We had smart people warning us all along. Some of Linda She's an ex-Coinbase engineer, and she posted this on April 20th, 2018, saying that, you know, this can't work. We had critics all the way. Gigantic Rebirth, the guy that took the bet with Kwon, he told people, he had been talking about this for weeks. But instead of listening and taking the criticism, what we did was we fought like a cult. We all fought like a cult. And we tried to convince them they were wrong. We didn't even open up our minds to listen to the argument. And it's a big thing that happens in crypto. We are so cultish that we don't actually listen to criticism. And that criticism may have helped us fix certain gaps in our protocols. And it's a lesson that we need to learn in crypto. We've got to be open-minded. And the people that we need to be the most open-minded to are the biggest haters. Because the biggest haters will be the one that show us all the weaknesses in our protocols and will help us fix them up. We have to listen with an open mind. And we don't, because we don't want to. We don't want to because if they're right, it means we're not making as much money. But we also realize that if they are right, we can all get to the position that we're in today. So we've got to listen, we've got to change. Our culture has got to change. Our culture has to change to accept criticism even from the biggest haters. From the biggest haters, accept criticism and respect the criticism and listen to it with an open mind. Some of the responses that have been posted on social media by Kwon and other people to people who potentially criticized him. I mean, I don't know if you remember this Jack Nevolt thread where he criticized this thing. And Jack Nevolt's a smart guy. He's a very smart guy. And what did Kwon do? He brushed it off. He brushed it off. That's what he did. That's a mistake. That's a mistake. We've got to be more open-minded to criticism because we're dealing with very early technology. And we must listen to the criticism because if we don't, we're going to get wrecked. All right, next. We've got one more, which I think is a very, very, very important one that we all have to pay serious attention to. And that is what happened after Luna collapsed. So we've all seen Luna collapse, and a lot of people lost a lot of money, and a lot of people are angry, and a lot of people are looking to blame people for their losses. And a lot of people have blamed Kwon, blamed other people in the space. Some people are, hell, some people are even blaming us because we told them about Luna. I think you have to understand one thing. People like Kwon, even us, other people that were in Luna, the reason why those people wanted you to join the journey was because they believed and we believed that this thing was going to work, and they believed that we wanted you to be part of our success. Kwon was about to change the world, and he wanted you to be part of his success. He wasn't doing this maliciously. Anybody who knows Kwon knows that Kwon gave the biggest fight of his life here. He wanted this to work, and he wanted to change money, and he wanted to change money so we could have a destabilized, non-USD pegged system out of the government system, out of the government's hands, a stablecoin system. He did nothing malicious. In fact, I spoke to him today, and he's still fighting to try and make this work. He says, we're not going away. We put a whole lot of people into the ecosystem because we wanted people to participate in our success, because it was successful. We have to change the mindset in crypto, because what I see now is I see a whole lot of people grave dancing, a whole lot of people who are blaming Kwon for their losses, or blaming anybody they can, or even us, blaming people for their losses. You knew the risks when you invested. You should have done your own research. We all wanted you to be part of the success, specifically Kwon. And we have to celebrate failure, because we have to remember that the people like Kwon that are willing to give up their lives to try something that's never been tried before, try and try and try until eventually they succeed. And if we dissuade those people, I mean, I saw this tweet here from Lego Meg. It says, the Lisa was the predecessor to the Macintosh. It was a failure. Steve Jobs' daughter's name is Lisa. Luna is a failure. Kwon's daughter's name is Luna. There's hope for stablecoin redemption. But remember that people like Steve Jobs, people like Kwon, they are innovators. They are doing things that nobody has ever tried to do before. Their chances of failing are much, much, much higher than their chances of success. And instead of shunning these people when they fail, I think we should pat them on the back and say, well done, you tried. Well done, you tried to get me to join your success. And if you fail, well, everybody failed. I bet you that Kwon lost more money than you and I bet you that I lost more money than you, and so the chain goes down. But it was all with good intentions, because all we wanted to do was create a new money for the world. Well, not we, I didn't create the money, but we wanted all to go on this journey. And we have this culture in crypto where we knock these people when they fail. Andre Cronje, We forced Andre Cronje to leave crypto. One of the biggest and best builders in the space. This culture has forced him to leave crypto. One of the most innovative, unbelievable minds in the world has left this industry. The implications, the stuff that he built in this industry, no one else has been able to build. Unbelievable stuff. And he could have built more and more and more. And what did we do? We knocked him down on Twitter and on social media platforms. I'm not guilty of it, but a lot of people knocked him down. And as a result, he eventually left. And now I see the same grave dancing that's happening on Kwon. It's not cool. If we want to change the world, we need to celebrate the people that try and fail and let them and help them try again, because those are the people that will eventually succeed. And when they do, they will eventually change the world. So we've got to take those lessons, guys, and we've got to make sure that we never make them again on any other protocol. For me, it was important to make this video because for me, it was closure on this Luna episode and probably a good time for me and for all of us as a community to move on. The protocol failed, but we're here and we're healthy and we're happy and we have some money and we will rebuild and we will rebuild fast and we'll make it all back and we'll come out of this with a whole lot of lessons, well, specifically 9 lessons here. And I do see a lot of people here who are saying that, you know, Kwon shouldn't have been so arrogant and Kwon shouldn't have been so arrogant. I want to address this point, one last point before we go. Kwon did get arrogant. He displayed hubris. He did, taking $10 and $20 million bets that my protocol succeed, telling people that they're going to stay poor. Yeah, cool. Kwon's human, guys. Kwon is human. He was riding a wave of success. He went from zero, from maybe a previous failure before. He went from zero to building a protocol that was worth $60 billion and an ecosystem around it which was worth at least another $20 billion. He's human. He's young. He's a kid. He's a kid. And so, yes, okay, maybe he got a little ahead of himself. But maybe you would have also got ahead of yourself. You can't blame his arrogance for it. You got to balance everything in life and say, guys, we're all human and we're trying to do our best to change the world and we will make mistakes. And Kwon made mistakes and we made mistakes investing too much, but we're all here and we're going to build it again and we're going to try again. And I'm going to tell you again, that I would rather back Kwon over many, many, many other people again if he creates another stablecoin. In fact, I tweeted this earlier today. Just to gauge an idea. This is actually a gauge to see how business astute are people today. And I said, serious question. A guy like Kwon, I said, think hard before you answer and let me know why you answered what you did. I said, Kwon phones you in 6 months and tells you he's working on a new stablecoin of sorts. Do you invest? 72.4% of people said they wouldn't. And 27.6% of people said they would. Tell you where I sit. I definitely, if he phoned me tomorrow, I would invest. And I'll tell you why. Because he's proven he can build an unbelievable stablecoin. He's proven that he can build an unbelievable community. He's failed, and maybe he's even failed twice if the rumors are true. I would rather back someone that's failed and learned than someone that's never tried and is going into the ring for the first time. It's like you'd rather back a fighter that's been in the ring many times because you know that he knows how to fight and he knows what's coming up and he knows the real risks because he felt it on himself. I'll back Kwon again anytime. That's it. That's the end of the Luna chapter for me. I hope it's the end of the Luna chapter for you. I'll see you guys again later. Remember, today we've got our big banter show. Until then, trade well, my friends. And I appreciate all the love and support and all the messages that I've got from every single one of you. Although, to be honest, a lot of the messages were a little bit exaggerated. I'm okay. I'm here. I still have a pretty big, sizable crypto portfolio, and I'm going to build it again to be much bigger than it was before. And you know what? So are you. See you guys again later. Until then.